Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to be discussing Brothers at War. Yes, that's right, 90 Day Fiancé's favourite brothers. Yes, that's right, 90 Day Fiancé's only brothers. And Pillow Talk favourites, Tarik and Dean. And the Ebird is going to break down the real truth behind the massive bust-up between these two brothers. And what led up to and happened after this massive disagreement.
We brought this woman all the way the fuck out here.
But it don't fucking matter.
It do fucking matter.
It don't fucking matter.
Yeah, it do fucking matter.
It don't fucking matter. I'm
you out
here.
of your mind. You out of your fucking mind. Yeah, but you here, but you ain't broke.
But it don't. He
That's
ain't
his
broke
choice.
either.
Yeah, he is.
Let
He
me tell
buying
you.
fucking thrift store clothes his goddamn self.
What
the fuck you talking about?
If I take Hazel to a secondhand store, she'll be happy.
But you ain't never did that, and you never will.
So the very day after this disagreement, Dean decided to unfollow Tarik on all social media and he blocked him on his phone. And as a direct result of this, they haven't spoken for 20 months. And guys, in the meantime, Dean has actually moved to the Philippines to be with his brand new partner. So guys, we're going to rewind a bit and start where else? At the beginning. So Tarik was the first brother to start out the 90-day adventure. He was the initial one that the TV company wanted. And so Tarik's a very successful realtor and rapper. And he's 48 and lives at Virginia Beach. And on Before the 90 Days, cameras followed him over to the Philippines to see his girlfriend Hazel, who's 28. And Tarik was meeting Hazel for the first time face to face. And so Tarik was a little bit wary about going to meet Hazel on his own, as I tend to find gangster rappers often are, and he decided to take with him brother Dean. And Dean, also from Virginia Beach, used to be a military man and he was in the Marine Corps for many years, and it was during this time that he used to travel from America to the Philippines, so he is actually quite used to being in the Philippines. And Dean has also dabbled in comedy and has tried his hand at being a stand-up comedian, and he considers himself to be the funnier of the two brothers. So what I'm going to break down in this video is the reason that Dean decided to absolutely cut off his brother Tarik, and also what was behind the timing of this move. So guys, if you've yet to do so, please make Ebird a very happy Ebird and subscribe to my channel. And also don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoy the content. It does make an awful difference to my YouTube placings. So guys, if you enjoy the video, it would be a massive help. Right, so where has the Ebird found out all her info? Oh yes, I've done the unthinkable, I'm now on Discovery Plus. And I know you guys are going to ask me, is it worth it? And I'll give you the pros and cons. The cons are, obviously, it's $4.99 a month, which on the surface of things, no, it's not a lot of money at all. And in fact, it's an excellent deal, unless of course you decide to compare it to Amazon or Netflix, which of course I do. And then just somehow, it's not quite such a good deal. But if you are a 90 Day Fiancé fan, it's kind of worth it, I think, because there's loads of behind the scenes stuff, there's loads of never seen before footage, and actually, I only started watching it last night, once that Super Bowl intervened in my viewing plans for the evening. And guys, I gotta tell you, I've got a full week's worth of exclusives. There are loads of little bits and bobs which help us make far more sense of what's happening on screen, and also give us loads of details and fill in the blanks on past seasons. So I have to say, it is kind of worth it. Kind of. But the reason I really like it is because it helps me to decipher a little bit better, is this storyline true, is this storyline completely made up? And I will let you know some more stories later in the week. But yeah, I gotta admit, I was quite entertained. So what was behind the whole Tarik and Dean relationship breakdown? Tarik and Dean haven't spoken for 20 months. Dean basically ghosted Tarik and he wouldn't even tell him why he wasn't speaking to him. So I, like many people, were left thinking, what could have possibly gone down that was so bad, that was so terrible, that led to this? Tarik must know something that he's not telling us. Now there was one theory that it was because Dean got Tarik thrown off Pillow Talk. So in one of the seasons of Pillow Talk, Tim Malcolm was dating somebody called Jennifer, and she was a Colombian model. And there were a few silly rumours going around that Tim was trans. These were demonstrably obviously not true, but these rumours had a lot of traction on the internet, and I personally had to delete dozens and dozens of comments saying exactly the same thing under the videos that I was posting. And I think the main reason that these rumours persisted was mainly due to the fact that Jennifer was very emasculating of Tim, but also Tim liked to do things such as having manicures and doing face packs and that type of thing. And to me it was all very basic and kind of silly, and Dean fed into these rumours a little bit, and he was putting things out on social media, alluding to this and saying, is Tim really a woman? Ridiculous, but nevertheless the rumours went around that this was the specific reason that they were thrown off Pillow Talk. And I thought that's a fair enough reason. But Tarik said that he knew nothing of this and that production hadn't spoken to him, and so I thought, well, it can't be that. But I think I've worked out, with the help of our $4.99 a month Discovery Plus channel, the real reason that Dean wasn't speaking to Tarik, and that is the age-old problem of jealousy. I believe that Dean was jealous of Tarik. So let me build the case for my theory. So on I think episode 2 of 90 Day Bears All, Tarik was invited on to talk about his relationship with Dean. Tarik came on, and after giving us a wonderful rendition of that hip-hop classic, Girl You're Hot Sauce, yeah you know it, girl you're hot sauce, hella hot sauce. And sidebar, Dean tells us hot sauce was because Hazel doesn't seem like she's hot sauce, but when you take that lid off, she's hot like chili. Personally I'd say she's more like parsley sauce, but whatever. Tarik sat down with Sean and she let him know exactly what had happened with Dean. So she started out by asking Tarik, what happened the very last time you saw Dean? And Tarik told Sean at the end of the season's filming, they wrapped up and then he and Dean went for a meal as they usually do, and they were getting on great and there was absolutely no problem. But then the following day, one of the executive producers from TLC called Tarik and said, Dean, your brother, has quit Pillow Talk. And Tarik was completely blindsided. He had absolutely no idea what it was about. And he said, don't worry, let me speak to my brother and I'll give you a call back. But when he tried to call Dean, he realised he was blocked, and then he realised he'd blocked him on all social media as well. So Tarik had to actually call back the executive producer and tell him, get Dean to call me. And Dean absolutely refused. And so the producer explained to Tarik that Dean had said that Tarik was consistently cutting him off, and that he wasn't letting him finish his jokes. Jokes? What jokes? We'll get to that later. And the producer said, I've asked him to call you, but he says he doesn't want to speak to you. And then 90 Day Bears All showed us an unaired scene. And so they had this argument on Pillow Talk. And it was about everybody's favourite Dusty, Robert, and Annie.
It is what it is.
Did you hear what this man just said?
Nah, that's bullshit.
He just spent thousands on a K1 visa. He got to spend...
So what? That's his choice. He wanted to be with her.
She ain't helping with the wedding.
That's his choice, though.
Are you really defending the chick who's
Hell
saying,
yeah.
I'm too good?
I'm defending her because he took her ass to a second-hand
So
freaking
what?
store the first time he brought her there. That shows you how he feels about her worth.
Wrong.
You can see they're both arguing and they're both standing their ground. And for what it's worth, surprisingly, I agree with Dean, as I did at the time. I don't think it was fair of Robert to take Annie to the thrift store. But the truth be told, it was no big deal. And obviously Annie managed to see through it because those guys got married and now they have a kid. And they seem extremely happy in their relationship, so no big deal. But as you can see, these two guys were arguing over it. But you can tell, I think from this clip, that Dean does not like the fact that Tarik wasn't backing down. And Tarik was trying to insinuate, I think everybody will agree with me. Not necessarily, but Dean did not like the fact that Tarik was kind of defying him. I very much got the impression that Dean thinks he's the dominant brother, and he thinks that Tarik should basically acquiesce to him in any argument. And I think sands were a-shifting, and Dean didn't know how to deal with it. And Tarik further explains to Sean, Dean and I were very popular and we were very well paid for Pillow Talk, so we don't know why Dean felt so strongly that he would decide to cut off that payment. And I've got to admit, you must feel very, very strongly if you're prepared to cut off payment to make your point. And so Sean then said, well, next week we're going to have Dean on the show and Dean's going to explain it from his point of view. So what I take from this thus far is that Dean somehow thought he was the star of the show. And Dean also knew that Tarik couldn't appear on Pillow Talk without him, and he decided to just pull the rug from under him, even though he knew he was going to be losing money himself. And also Dean told the executive producer, Tarik's not letting me finish my jokes. Dean might think he's funny, but I really don't think he's all that funny. And in case you guys didn't know, Dean tried to set up a career as a stand-up comedian. And we can see here that he's got a couple of gigs here and there. But as I see it, it's mainly off the back of the fact that he was on 90 Day Fiancé. And certainly not from what I can see, because he's amazingly funny. In fact, I'd go as far to say, Dean is to comedy what Tarik is to rapping. sorry Tarik, actually from what I can see, I think Tarik is actually a better rapper than Dean is a comedian. But I think it's fair to say that we get a pervasively anticlimactic quality from both of these brothers whenever they display to us their so-called talents. And so the following week, Tarik's sitting on Sean's sofa again, and Sean said, so you have no idea why this has happened, and Tarik said, I'm as clueless as you are. Tarik, the Ebird begs to differ. Nobody is as clueless as Sean. And so they show Dean and Tarik's big argument on Pillow Talk all over again, and Sean says there is a big piece of this puzzle missing. And then she said, Tarik, we're going to go live over to Dean in the Philippines. And so this is when it kind of got a little bit theatre. And Tarik said, I'm not sitting here, Dean doesn't want to talk to me, so I'm not going to talk to him. So he walks off set, but he stands over by the cameraman, and he's basically listening to what's going to be said anyway. He may as well have just sat there. And Sean calls Dean, and Dean says, hey, things are great here, and is sitting in the Philippines. And you know I love to overanalyze, but he had to come on and say, hey, things are absolutely great. He knows he's on there just to talk about the argument with Tarik, but he had to start off with a little dig by saying, I'm so happy, things are so great. And to me, it's nothing more than just another sneaky little dig. And Sean said, why aren't you speaking? And Dean said, well, you all saw it, you all saw it. Everybody saw Tarik standing over me with that big vein popping out of his head. Now I went back to have a look at that, and Tarik didn't have a big vein popping out of his head. Dean was the one that was standing up a little bit and getting animated. Of the two, Tarik was actually more laid back. And Dean continued, Tarik looked ridiculous, he looked like a fool, we just looked stupid. And the reason I had to cut off Tarik and cut off this relationship is because there's underlying tension all the time. Right, okay, so let's analyse this. You had a big argument and you didn't like the way that both of you were presented on screen, and you looked like two guys just screaming at each other. But both of you were present in that argument. You could have said at any point, let's just agree to disagree, but you didn't. You wanted to win, and when you couldn't win, you threw your toys out of your oversized pram. And the other thing about this is, if you really thought that that's how you were presenting yourselves and you were worried about how you were being perceived, you would have then just spoken to your brother and said, listen, the way that we speak to each other or the way that you speak to me is wrong. I want us to fix this. I don't want us to carry on in this way. According to Tarik, Dean never once spoke to him about this at all. So I call bullshit on that just being the reason. Again, I think it's because Dean wanted to win, and Dean wants to be the dominant, funny one, and now Tarik's stepping onto what he considers his terrain. He doesn't like it. And Sean said, well, what were the other underlying issues? And Dean said, this is the problem. Here's how I see it. On season 1, Tarik's very laid back. He's sarcastic, he's calculating, but I'm the slapstick one. I'm the loud one. I'm the funny one. I'm the one who's in your face. But by the middle of season 3, Tarik completely changed. He became loud, just like me. That's what I do. All our family and all our friends were saying, this isn't Tarik's personality. What's wrong with Tarik?
What it do?
Ain't nothing to it. All right, you can start now. I'm here.
Now, Dean, why are you wandering around all your friends and your family discussing what Tarik's personality is like? Who does that? And why? And guys, it was this that drew me to the conclusion that Dean was jealous. So he's more or less saying, I've got the funny personality, I'm the loud one, I'm the outspoken one. Tarik's supposed to be the quiet, more calculated person. But now he's being just like me, he's doing me. Suddenly, Tarik's stomping all over Dean's territory. He's being funny, allegedly. Now guys, this is how I see it. When people get semi-famous or people get onto TV, they tend to get a little bit more confidence. And so I think Tarik gained popularity. And with that popularity came confidence. And with that confidence, he was a little bit more outspoken. I think their usual dynamic was Tarik was the person that was a realtor and that had the big nice house. And Dean was the person that was working for the government. He was working in the military, and then he got some sort of injury and he came out on disability. But what do we know about military guys or ex-military guys or ex-servicemen? They are usually quite dominant characters. They're very strong characters. They're uber masculine, as it were. And I think that's exactly what their relationship was like. But now suddenly the tables are turning. So Tarik not only out-earned Dean, Tarik managed to get himself onto TV. Tarik managed to get himself a fit wife from the Philippines. But Dean thought he had one thing above Tarik, and that one thing he saw as being a really big deal, and that was the fact he thought, I'm funnier than Tarik. People like to be around me more than Tarik. And then all of a sudden, when Tarik becomes to be a bit more outspoken, when Tarik gives a few more lyrics and is quite funny, Dean didn't like it, because that last remaining thing that Dean could hang over Tarik's head, I'm funny, was slipping away. Or as Dean saw it, was slipping away. To me, the absolute gag is, Dean was never that funny anyway. Dean's just a bullish person that talks really loudly and thinks he's funny because he says things with the use of unnecessary volume. And he reminds me of one of those extremely unfunny comedians from the 80s. Black man, they do this. White man, they do that. And because you're shouting it really loudly, it's what passes for humour. Miss me with that, it's so unfunny. I've never found it funny, and I very, very rarely found Dean funny. But obviously Dean thinks he's hilarious, and he saw that slipping away. But on top of that, when he was taken with Tarik, who got the gig on TV, let's face facts, when he was taken with Tarik to the Philippines to meet Hazel for the first time, what happened? Dean was extremely rude to her. And amongst other things, he called her a mail order chick, and he also called into question her character because she didn't have custody of her son. And he basically continually insinuated that Hazel was only with Tarik for money and that she was no good, and most of this was to Hazel's face. How is this relevant? Well, I'll tell you, because he didn't want the best for his brother. It seemed like he just wanted to be really rude to Hazel to get rid of her, and he wanted to split their relationship up. And why would he not want the best for his sibling? Because he was always secretly jealous. Sometimes, Dean, words fail me. But sometimes they don't. You're a jealous ass clown. So whilst Dean was talking to Sean, Tarik was hanging around, listening to what was being said, and he decided to get back on camera. And Tarik said, I don't want all this to be on camera, I don't want it to be filmed, I want it to be in private. And Dean said, well, you said everything that you said about me on social media and on camera, so where's the difference? And Tarik said, I tried to talk to him man to man and he wouldn't speak to me, that's cap. And Dean said, there you go, he's nearly 50 years old and he's saying cap. Dean, why are you so worried about Tarik's vernacular? What's the big deal? And they continued bickering and arguing the toss about who said they would call who and who wouldn't speak. And it came out as well that Dean's got a baby on the way with his new partner. And Tarik pretended, unsuccessfully, not to know. Tarik, I know very well that this wasn't news to you. And Tarik was saying, I can't believe Sean's just told me this. Sean's not even family. You should have told me this, Dean. And in the end, Sean said, you've both got massive egos and this needs to get fixed. And Dean reluctantly agreed that he would unblock Tarik on social media. So guys, yeah, for me it's definitely jealousy. And let's not forget one final thing. Dean ended up meeting his new partner, with whom he's having a child, on exactly the same dating app that Tarik met Hazel on. And now Dean's out in the Philippines living his life with this new woman. Dean, what's your point? You're saying Tarik's trying to be like you and trying to assume your personality. You're trying to be like him and trying to imitate his life choices. What's the big deal? You're brothers. You're going to influence each other. But Dean, you're still completely unable to say why exactly you're not speaking to Tarik, other than Tarik's trying to be funny. Dean, you're jealous as hell. So guys, let me know what you think. Why do you think it is that the brothers aren't speaking? And another thing, God, I nearly forgot this. Dean said one other thing to the executive producer when he handed his notice in. He said, I'll only do pillow talk if Tarik's no longer anything to do with it, and I'll do it on my own. So you actively tried to cut your brother out. That, as far as I'm concerned, is utterly scandalous behaviour. I think you're watching Tarik's every move with an envious eye. I really do. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Dean is jealous of Tarik? Or do you think there's another reason that these brothers stopped speaking? And what do you think about Discovery Plus? Do you think it's a good idea? They are putting out more content. How great the quality is going to be long term, who knows? But there are a couple of other little stories that have popped up there, so I'll be back later in the week with those stories. But let me know what you think of this story in the comments down below. Before I go, please don't forget, if you've enjoyed this little story, to press subscribe, click that red button for regular content, and also please don't forget to like the video. Thank you guys so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.